So either stretching the legs out straight, or you can bring the soles of your feet together, come into what we call butterfly pose. And if you take the feet a little bit further away, you don't have to have them all the way in, because that's quite an intense stretch in the pelvis. So you can have them a little bit further away. So that's another option. Or you can just sit cross-legged. If you're over 34 weeks of your pregnancy, then we recommend not sitting cross-legged because it restricts the blood flow too much. So if you're over 34 weeks, then butterfly pose or just legs out straight. And then make sure that you've got your pelvis touching the back of the wall, or maybe your cushion if you're sitting on your cushion. So you want to get kind of shuffle back so that you're not rounding the back. So you want to have your pelvis and your shoulders supported by the wall. Now it's a bit tricky because you've got this dado rail which tends to push the head forwards. So if you feel like that's happening, then what you can do is bring your cushion a little bit higher up so it pushes the chest forwards, and that will mean that you're not having this head pushing situation, but also you'll get a really nice chest opening as well. And then placing one hand over the center of your chest. So in yoga we call this the heart space. So it's not the physical heart over the left hand side, this is the emotional, energetic heart space right in the center of the chest. And if you've ever done any yoga, you might have heard quite a lot, open the heart space, lift from the heart space. So this is this area here. And then with your other hand, just rest it over your baby. So if you're in the early stages of your pregnancy, so probably a little bit less than 20 weeks, there's a chance that you haven't got any kind of very specific kind of locational sensations regarding your baby at the moment. So you kind of just put your hand on your lower belly. After 20 weeks, you might start to get a little bit of a bump. You might start to get a few flutterings and a few movements. So you just place your hand where you connect with your baby. And just roll your shoulders around a couple of times. So draw them up and roll them back. And then just drop them all the way down. And then just close your eyes and just resting in this space for the moment. Just becoming aware of your physical body. Notice how you feel at this moment in time. Be aware of any specific sensations, whether that's in your legs, your feet, your back, your belly, your shoulders. Just being aware of how you feel at this moment. And then connecting the energy between these two hands. So your uppermost hand is on your heart space. This is the emotional center, energetically emotional center. And then you've got your hand over your baby, your other hand over your baby. And there is an incredibly strong energetic link between these two spaces. So the bond between a mother and a baby is incredibly deep, incredibly profound. And it's an unbreakable bond. And this bond is being developed right from this moment, or right from the moment of conception. So just being aware of that emotional, unbreakable bond. Notice how that feels. And then turning your awareness to your breath. Feel the sensation first of all in the nostrils. Notice the movement of your breath in and out through the nose. And then move your awareness of your breath into your throat. And you're going to create a little bit of softening, a little bit of restriction around the muscles in your throat, very similar to if you were sighing under the breath, or if you were trying to clean any dirt or smears off the mirror or off your glasses where you make the sound, but you're doing this with the mouth closed. It's a subtle sound, so there's just a little bit of restriction around the throat. It's not too strong, not too aggressive, but what you end up with is this gentle oceanic sound. And we call this ocean breath, or to give it its Sanskrit name, Ujjayi, which means victorious. And this is one of the basic breaths that we use in yoga, and particularly in pregnancy yoga, because it brings more oxygen into your body, but it also brings an element of calming and sedating almost of the whirling thoughts that we sometimes get inside the mind. It creates an anchor point for our awareness. We're just going to take one more breath. And then you can relax the breath, let it find its own natural state. And you can let the hands go. And then gently open the eyes. So we're going to take the legs out in front now, just have a really simple hip opener. So you're going to place the left foot to the inside of the right leg, and the right leg is going to stay extended. Now if you have got tight hamstrings, you might want to have a little bit of a bend in that knee. If your hamstrings are fine, then just lightly push the leg away. You're going to place your hands onto both of your thighs. Now as you inhale, the left knee is going to lift up just to where it's comfortable, and as you breathe out, it's going to drop all the way down. We're going to do that with a ha breath. So on the inhale, you're going to use that Ujjayi breath. And then it lifts up. And we vocalize that ocean breath on the exhale. So on the lift, Ujjayi breath, ocean breath, so internalized restriction. As you breathe out, you vocalize it. Okay, so you're going to keep going in that same way. So we're loosening up the hips. This ha breath again, it's a birthing breath, so it's very good for utilizing the energy and power of this silent roar. And then we're also going to add some pelvic floor in here. So the next time you breathe in, you're going to squeeze and lift the pelvic floor as the knee lifts. And as you breathe out, you're going to relax the pelvic floor completely. And then just do that a few more times. So squeeze the pelvic floor on the inhale. And then soften and relax it. So we need to have a strong pelvic floor, but we also need to have the flexibility of a pelvic floor that can relax as well. So one more time. And then bringing that leg up, and then just cross it over so it's on the outer edge of your right knee. You may need to turn a little bit here. So particularly if you're in the later stages of your pregnancy, the bump is going to be quite a big obstacle to get around. So you might want to either turn the belly around or just take the legs a little bit further round, away from your bump. The other thing to bear in mind is if you've got quite short shin bones, you might find that you can't touch the floor, so you might need to put your foot on a brick. I've got the opposite problem, my legs are fine, it's my arms that I need the brick under. So, nice upright spine. And what we're going to do here is we're going to press down through the left foot. This is another pelvic floor and pelvic girdle strengthener. So you're going to push the right heel away, get that stretch into the leg. And then every time you breathe out, you're going to push the left foot into the floor. And as you breathe in, you relax. Now, the stronger you can push that into the floor, you're going to feel that tightening your buttocks, your pelvic floor, and some of your pelvic girdle muscles. And then relaxing. So I'm wondering, because you're both quite running that space now, aren't you? If you bring your right leg more towards me, Melissa, then take the leg over, again put the block under it. But now you might have a bit more belly space, so you can bring the foot, that's better. So now you can really push down through that foot. So same thing again, inhale, allow the spine to lengthen, and then as you exhale, push down through the left foot, for the whole length of your exhalation, and just feel all that tightening. I'm going to do that 2 more times. So one of the things we don't think about in pregnancy is this strengthening of the pelvic girdle muscles, that they are under a lot of strain in pregnancy, and if we don't maintain some strength there, they get a little bit looser, and then they don't support the body quite so well. So now we're going to do these outside leg stretches, which hopefully Catherine will sort you out. So now see if you can bring that top leg round as far as it will go. So you want to get the heel towards the buttock. Now again, if it won't go down very far, you can place a block underneath the ankle, so that you've got a little bit of support. So again, you can use your blocks. Now for those of you that have got a nice amount of space here, can you get the right leg under? Can you get a double? This is called shoelace pose. And
sorry.
You having a scratch?
No, I've got like really cramp.
You've got restless legs?
Terrible.
Oh, I could see when we were sitting down you were...
Can't sit still.
Oh, do you know what? I got that all through menopause. It was a nightmare. I couldn't sleep. Busy legs all the time.
I don't know what to do.
Well, I found when in menopause, for me, it was like it's too much energy in the body, and so I used to have to go for a run before I went to bed. I'd have to go around the bed, but that's not going to work for you. But maybe just
do something.
Just some gentle walking. For me, I mean, it may be different in pregnancy, but I know in menopause, for me, it was just expending the energy out of the legs. Are you having it as well?
No, I just know what you mean from menopause. So done some studies on it.
Right.
So,
yeah, you've got all this to look forward to, ladies. You think pregnancy is bad? But at least Moore's been talking about it now.
Absolutely.
You know, I never shut up about it. I told everybody who cared to listen, because I thought there's no way this should be silenced. I will not be silenced. Everybody knew about my menopause. And still. Okay, so all good here. Get lovely stretch on the outsides of the hips. So whether you can do it with double legs or single legs, you're still getting this stretch on the outside. So just going to hold that for a couple of breaths. We'll do a few pelvic floor squeezes while you're there. So do some rapid ones. Squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax. Just while you're holding this position. How's that feel, Amy? You get the stretch?
Yeah.
How's that feeling, Catherine? I think this might be the one to, so have a play of that with this at home. Okay, and then just relaxing. And then from here, you might want to just bounce your legs up and down, roll them in and out. So this bouncing might do the job as well, Lauren. Just bouncing, rebounding, and just literally shaking all that fizziness out.
I think I'm so tired because I can't sleep that I'm probably not doing as much exercise. I'm like, I'm just so desperate to get to sleep. Like, so I wouldn't. I think you're probably right. If I can do a bit more moving after.
Yeah. What's keeping you awake? Just pregnancy?
Yeah. 2 o'clock, I'm like, bing.
Yeah, that's menopause as well. Yeah, you get that in menopause. I wake up in the middle of the night wide awake. Yeah, maybe try get some like downloaded sleepy things.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I just need to do some like pregnancy hit and just like burn it off. Get going. Because now I'm not cycling, I'm just not doing as much.
It's finding that the appropriate exercise, isn't it? Finding what's good.
Push-ups are alright. It'll be fine.
When they say swimming, walking.
Okay.
And obviously doing stuff that you've done before. If you're going to do HIIT, don't do it if you've never done it before.
Well, I did do it before. I've just, since I've gone back to work 'cause I can't sleep, I've not bothered, but I think I can pick stuff up again.
Yeah. Well, just do what I did prior to going to bed. Walk around the block. And
do you know why it is? Do you know why you get it? Restless legs.
Not necessarily for pregnancy. No, I don't think it is.
Not getting dehydrated.
It's your hormones, isn't it? I feel.
It is. I mean, that's what it is with the menopause. It's all hormonal, which is why there's a big correlation between the two. It's you've got hormones that are kind of bouncing up and down. It's exactly what happens in menopause as well. Unstable hormones.
Yeah.
But I did find that I just had to kind of like, jog it out, walk it out.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I can do that.
Yeah.
I get it sometimes. Like before I was pregnant, I used to get it if I was like overtired but hadn't done any exercise, and I was like my feet were boiling hot. So I used to have like quite a lukewarm bath. Like have a little walk around, have a lukewarm bath, and then get into bed and read or something.
Just feel like everything's off. Like I can't have a meal at night because I can't keep it down. I can't do it. You know, you just like you just can't be like normal. It's not forever, but it's just annoying. Yeah.
And sleep deprivation is the worst, isn't it?
It's not made me grumpy or anything.
We'll let you know. Okay, right leg comes in to half butterfly pose, left leg stretches. And then same thing again. So as you breathe in, the knee lifts. As you breathe out, the knee lowers. So Ujjayi or ocean breath on the inhale. And then ha breath as the knee lowers down. Just carrying on with that same breath. So ocean breath inhaling. Ha breath exhaling. And now introducing some pelvic floor exercise as well. So on the inhale, squeezing and tightening pelvic floor. On the exhale, softening and relaxing. And just do two more. Pelvic floor squeeze, and then pelvic floor softening and relaxing. And then once you've finished, taking the leg up and over, and then again placing the foot on a block if you need it, and making some space for your belly. So either turning the abdomen or taking the legs around to the side. So they'll both do the same thing. You're just moving your abdomen away from your thigh. And then as you inhale, you lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, you push the right foot firmly down into the floor. So you can feel that tightening in the buttocks, pelvic floor, pelvic girdle muscles. And then on the inhale, relax that effort, lengthen the spine. And on the exhale, push down through the foot. And again. And last time. And then reaching that leg all the way over, letting the knee sit on top of your left knee. If you need it, you can rest your foot onto a block, and if you can bring the left leg all the way under, and then it's coming into double shoelace. And again, this gives you a really nice stretch on the outside of the hips. So this is often a part of the body that you don't stretch generally. You have to do this quite specific move to get into this part of the body, which gets harder and harder the more pregnant you get, because there's no space for the knees when the bump kind of takes over, so I appreciate it's a little bit tricky. You can sit up on a block actually. The higher up you are, have you got a block? Do you want to?
I think, to be honest, I think my hips are more than anything I'm struggling with.
Right. Wasn't this one of the ones that we thought was good though, to stretch the outside hips? Yeah. Try that and just see.
Just all round uncomfortable now.
Yeah, you're good to go. You and Melissa, it's like you just you've had enough now, haven't you? Left leg over this time, isn't it? Is it right leg over? Look the wrong way now. No. What's your top leg?
Right.
Right, yes, because I have sat there. Right. I've got that down. Okay, so is that a bit better?
Yeah, it is.
So rapid pelvic floor. Now, this is the fast twitch pelvic floor muscles. So just like machine gunning. So squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax, lift, squeeze, lift. Again, these muscles do get a little bit slack during pregnancy, and part of the relaxin hormone that softens all the muscles, all the ligaments, but also because you've got ever more pressure coming down through the pelvis. And as we saw with our images in the birthing workshop that we did yesterday, the bladder is non-existent during pregnancy because your uterus sits right on top of it, and we had some images of this tiny, almost like paper thin bladder. So more pressure every time any fluid comes into your bladder, it's already under a lot of pressure to come out. So it's the perfect storm really, isn't it, of incontinence. Okay, and then releasing, and take the legs out, give them a shake. Okay, right, let's get you moving. Does that feel a bit better, Catherine?
Yeah, it's good.
Perfect.
Just need to do it more.
Yeah, it's just, I say, it's one of those muscles, and when they get tight, there's nothing that you do in daily life that you have just got to sit and do that move. That's it. Okay, so we're going to start. If you want to come towards the middle of your mat, and you're going to come into a kneeling position. So I'm not sure if, also I was going to say, I've turned this radiator down. Pip, you're in charge of heating control that end. If you're hot, turn that one down. Are you all okay, ladies? No one's cold? No, it's boiling in here, isn't it? Yeah. So I've just opened the other window as well. So middle of the mat, coming into a kneeling position. So sitting back onto your heels, and we will be going forwards at some point, which is why you need to be sort of in the middle of your mat. Bring the palms of your hands together, and then as you breathe in, you're going to push the shins into the ground. You're going to squeeze your pelvic floor muscles, and you're going to reach the arms up over the head. And as you breathe out, just bring the hands down into the heart space and come and sit back onto your heels. Okay, now we're going to do it a little bit differently, and you're going to find out why. So we're going to inhale, push into the shins, rise up again. Now, in most instances, when we come back, we'll stick our bum out. See if you can stay upright. How much can you stay upright? And then your quads will scream at you and your knees will crack. But it's really good for strengthening the quad muscles. Yeah, welcome to your quads. Yeah, so it's quite an interesting thing. And if you've got any quad injury or knee injury, then you can stick your bum out as much as you need to. Okay, same thing again. Push the shins into the ground, rise up. And on the exhale, just see how far you can come back, staying in that upright position, or just limiting the amount of kind of bottom going out that you've got. Okay, last time. Thigh burn. And then come over onto your hands and your knees, and you want to make the spine quite long. So lengthen your spine, then put your hands underneath your shoulders. You want to make some space for your baby, so take your knees as wide as you need them to be, so that you can get your hips back on your heels without squishing your baby, and that will be different for all of you. You're going to tuck your tailbone under, round the spine to the ceiling, and just stay here for a little bit with that tail tucked under. Have a little bit of a wriggle, so just easing out the back. And then keep the back in that rounded position, and take, spider on my mat, take the hips, you want to squash it, don't come back on my mat, you'll get squished. Come all the way back onto the heels. So you want to keep the back in the rounded position here. So some of you are rounding the back and then tilting it back to come back, which is okay, but if you keep the tailbone tucked under, you get a much bigger stretch in the lower back, and the lower back is under so much compression in pregnancy, and this is a delicious stretch to do regularly if you're getting lower backache. So here, just maybe sway the hips a little bit from side to side, and that's even better for the lower back if you're getting any compression or any pains in the lower back. And then push into the shins to rise all the way up. So you don't have to use your back, just push the shins into the ground. So what we're going to do now is that same move. You're going to do another one of the birthing breaths, which is bee breath, and this is just humming on the out breath. It's really, really useful for your baby. Your baby is going to hear this sound, they're going to feel it because it's a vibration as well, so they might get a little bit jiggy while you're doing this. So inhale first of all, tailbone tucks under, spine rounds, you come all the way back onto your heels. We'll just do one round and then we'll add the breath in next time. Now this time on the inhale, push the shins into the floor, rise all the way back up. Same thing again. Keep going, hum at your own pace, don't all wait because you'll be waiting and waiting and nobody will hum and you'll be there forever. Don't worry if there's a gap, don't worry if you're the only one humming, there'll be another hummer along shortly. Next time you come all the way up, you can relax the humming, bring the knees back to the centre. We're going to do some lunging here and some hip opening lunges. If you feel that your pelvis isn't going to like this, for those of you who've got some pelvic girdle, because what was a broken one?
Her face is up.
I've got a space, like when I'm doing it just, like I'm trying to do that, it's just so much pressure.
Well, that's what you want. Push that baby.
My waters do break. That'd be good for you. Fun for you all.
At least we're at the carpet.
Yeah, it's auspicious. I've never had waters breaking in my class. But then that goes to what I was saying, that hardly ever do the waters break in labour. Forget what you see on everything on the telly. You know, most waters break midway through the labour. So if you're not comfortable stepping your right foot forward into a lunge, you can stay in the kneeling position. You can also even work harder if you know that you want to work for your pelvis by putting the brick, and I've got some spare ones if you want one, brick between your thighs and gripping. So that's your option. If you want to work your pelvic muscles, your inner thigh, you do that. Otherwise, step forward. Do you want the, yeah? Do you want to squeeze? Oh, Alex, we'll have a lie down in a minute. So, lunging position, right leg forwards or in the kneeling position. Bring the fingers together, interlace them, and then just release the index finger. So whether you're lunging or whether you are in the upright position, you're going to do the same thing. Breathe out, lower the fingers to the floor, And then as you breathe in, sweep them forwards and lift the rib cage. So don't lift your shoulders, lift your rib cage. And then as you breathe out, draw the hands down in front of you. Turn the fingers to the floor and all the way down. And then inhaling. So you can go into your ocean breaths. You've got a nice fluid control over your breathing. And the next time you breathe out, you can bring the hands to the floor. Now you've got a couple of options. Actually, we'll all do the same. So you're going to bring the knee back, tuck your toes under, walk your hands back towards your knees, and then lift the knees off the floor, drop the heels to the ground, walk your hands back and just have a little dangle here. So release the shoulders, release the back. Relax. I did it the wrong way. And then slowly uncurl all the way up to standing. I'm going to push this back a bit. Slowly from the waist down. There we go. Okay, so from here, turning widthways onto your mat, take the feet wide, and then just shift your weight from side to side. And as you shift the weight, let the feet, or at least the ball of the foot, come up off the floor. So your knee can find, and your feet can find their own kind of place underneath the knees. And then just dropping into this position. Now if you're not comfortable, if it's too much for the pelvis, come up a little bit higher. So find where it works for you. Push the feet into the ground. As you breathe in, take the right arm up over the head. And as you breathe out, just lift the side of the waist over towards the left. So don't pull over from your arms and your shoulders, lengthen from here. Push into the left foot to rise up. And then exhale, come back here. Same on the other side. Breathe in, left arm up, lengthen through the rib cage, lift the ribs. Exhale, take the ribs over to the right side. To come up, push into the right foot. And then exhale. Same thing again on the right side. So lengthening through the side of the body, bit of a strengthening movement through the legs. And just keeping the shoulders nice and loose, working through the side of the waist. And then straightening the legs. So from here, you're going to swivel your feet to the front of your mat, so just swiveling back around again. You want to have your feet in a sort of tram-line position. So imagine you've got your feet on two train tracks. So there should be a fair amount of width between the legs. And then from here, bringing the palms of your hands together. We're going to work with the straw breath for this little mini sequence, and that is just blowing the breath out between your lips as if you have a tiny straw in your mouth. It's a bit like whistling but without any sound. If you're quite hot, you can suck in through the straw as well, and that's a cooling breath. So both legs are as straight as you can manage. Breathe in. As you breathe out, push the right heel into the floor. Is your right leg your front leg?
No, it is now. No, it's not.
So yeah, the left leg, yeah, sorry. I just, that's fine. Yeah, so the right leg should be the back leg. Okay. And then you're going to draw the hips back. So imagine someone's just lightly pulling your hips backwards. So you're not bending the spine, you're not leaning forwards, you're just gently pulling the hips back. And then bend the front knee and push into it to rise all the way up. And then taking the arms out to the sides, reach them up over the head, interlace the fingers as we did before. And then you might want to step back a little bit if you can get a bit deeper into this lunge. We're going to do the same thing we did in the kneeling position. So we exhale, lower the hands down as far as they'll go. And then inhaling, lifting through the ribcage. Again, keep the shoulders nice and relaxed. Now remember the straw breath. So on the exhale, as you lower the hands down, you blow the breath out between the lips as if you're whistling. You can breathe in ujjayi, ocean breath, or you can suck the breath and you can do a straw inhalation. So just go at your own pace, follow your own breathing rhythm, whatever that is. And then rising all the way up. And next time you come down, you can straighten the front leg. Relax the hands. You're going to swivel back again, but this time you can have a smaller stride. So yeah, so if you want to face this way, because we're just kind of going to step backwards and forwards. So we're just going to do a little bit of birthing moves now. So for those who are new, we often do a bit of like birth moves. This is for stage 1, dilation of the cervix. It's quite helpful. You're going to keep the knees nice and soft. So you don't need a really big stride here. So just a comfortable stride. And then what you're going to do is keep the knees bent. So you're going to do a figure of 8 move. So you're going to circle one hip one way. You're going to circle the other hip the other way. So movement of the pelvis during a contraction helps the cervix to dilate. It also reduces the discomfort. It also helps your baby get into a favourable position for the delivery, for the birth down through the birth canal. So lots of reasons why hip movements, circles, sways, figures of 8 are quite good. You want to make sure that it is your pelvis moving. So there can be an instance of kind of legs straight and this happening where the hips aren't actually moving. It's a nice stretch of your back and your shoulders, but actually, think of it like a hula hoop. You know, the hips have to move because you want to get everything happening in the pelvis. You want pelvic floor, you want hip muscles, and you want the baby to be able to shift their position. So straw breath again. So here, another birthing breath. So integrating these birth movements with some birthing breaths. Now, so can you go the other way? Can you do a figure of 8 in the opposite direction? That makes your brain hurt. Just when you think you've got it. And then coming back to the centre. So now you're going to swivel the other way. So now you want the right foot forwards, left foot back. So it doesn't matter where you are because we'll come back to the middle anyway. So even if you're facing the back of the room, you want your tram line position again. Front knee bent, back leg straight. So we're kind of going to reverse our way through that sequence. Interlace the fingers, release the index finger. Straw breath again. Exhale, bring the hands down towards the floor. And on the inhale, sweep the arms forwards and up. Remember to lift the ribs and relax the shoulders. And then same thing again, breathing out and down. Breathing in, rising up. And the next time you finish breath, you can swivel the legs back to the centre, shifting the weight again from side to side. And then coming back into comfortable position. So again, you can have a smaller stride if it's not comfortable in the pelvis. Take the arms up, lift the ribs, and this time take hold of opposite elbows. As you breathe out, come over to one side and then circle all the way down towards the ground. And then as you inhale, you come up the other side and all the way back to the centre. Now if the thighs are burning a little bit, just straighten the legs at the top and then bend them again to go the other way. So now come over to the left as you exhale. Elbows sweep down towards the floor. As you inhale, rise all the way up. And you might just inhale, rest the legs. And we're going to do that a couple of times. So sweeping down as you breathe out. Sweeping in as you rise up. And changing sides. This is quite good for heartburn, indigestion, general tightness of the breath. Also a nice stretch for the back. And then once more. And then release the hands. So you're just going to swivel back to the front of the mat and then just step, I'll have to turn around so it might be a different one, but just step back to the middle of your mat and we're going to come down, so we're going to pretty much reverse what we've done. Come down, bring the hands to the floor, walk them forwards, drop the knees to the floor. Now if you want a little bit more work, you can have a little downward facing dog here, but if you're not up for that, you can maybe do some cat stretches or child pose, taking the hips back to the heels. So it's entirely up to you how much do you want to work here. And then bring the knees all the way down to the floor. And this time you're going to step the left leg into the lunge. So again, you can either come into the upright position with the brick between your thighs, or you can step the left foot forwards, rising up, tailbone lengthens, interlace the fingers, index finger stretching again. So straw breath, exhale down to the ground. Inhale, sweeping all the way up. Last time. And bring the hands all the way to the floor and step the knees back. So we're going to do a dog cat squat position here. If some of you think or feel that that isn't going to be good for your pelvis, do you want to do a static stretch or something that you know is good for you? So something that you've been working on that you think actually that feels better if you don't want to do what we're doing. Okay, so we'll go through it and then we'll add the breath. So the first thing is a downward dog. That will happen on the exhale. And then on the inhale, you bring the knees down to the floor. Now have the knees quite wide, keep the toes tucked under, and then you're going to walk your hands back and lift the knees off the floor. So you're coming into this low squat. Doesn't matter if the heels get down to the floor. It's a really nice stretch of the lower back, and squatting is the best position for delivery of your baby, and so we do quite a bit of squatting here just because it's good to get the body used to it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. You can do it in a kind of breath way, like inhale, exhale, inhale, or you can just take your time. So walk your hands forwards again, drop the knees to the floor. And then you can exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale, knees back down. Exhale, walk your hands back into squatting position. Inhale, walking forwards. Exhale. inhale, downward dog. Inhale, knees down. Exhale, walk the hands back into a squat. Inhale, walk the hands forward. So just carrying on in that same way, you might prefer to just let the breath find its own rhythm. So don't worry if you want to spend a little bit longer in some of these poses. You might want to stay a little bit longer in the squat, you might want to stay a little bit longer in the downward facing dog. If you're spending a little bit of time in the squat, it's quite nice to do some swiveling here, particularly if you're feeling it's quite tight, swivel around. So just take the heel down on one side, take the heel down on the other side, just a little play. So the key thing with squatting is to not have your feet too close together. So the closer the feet are, the harder it is to squat. If you can get your feet a little bit wider, you've got a lot more space to come into a squatting position. We'll just do one more round. So, when it was dog, all fours, squat, that was our kind of sequence. Yeah. Does this will do your legs good? This is what you need.
This just felt good actually. Stretching them out.
Yeah. And then when you're finished, coming back onto all fours, and then just working through another of our birthing moves. So we're going to do figure of 8 in the all fours position. So again, first stage of labour, opening the cervix, moving the hips in a figure of 8. So one hip moves in one direction, the other hip moves in the other direction. And working with your ha breath this time. Now can you go the other way? Can you make that figure of 8 go in the opposite direction? And then coming back to stillness. And then we're going to come and rest. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can tuck your toes under, bring the hips back, and then that means you've got a little bit more space for your baby when you've got your toes tucked under. And then you might want to come onto your elbows. So if you don't want to have your head too far down, you can just come up onto your elbows. If you feel it's okay, and if you can actually get down lower, if you flatten the feet and bring the hips further back, you might be able to just rest your head on your arms flattened down. So find what works for you. You don't want to have your head particularly lower than your heart or your hips, because you'll just get a big head rush. So find the position that you feel is more comfortable for you. And just with a very, very soft, natural breath. And then from here, slowly, come all the way back up onto your hands and onto your knees. And then just sliding the right knee forwards and stretching the left knee back. So you may need to take the knee slightly over to the right side if the bump now is proving to be a bit of an obstacle. And then see how it feels to just gently rock your hips from side to side. So this is getting a bit of a stretch into the quad on the back leg. So we're stretching the hips a little bit, but it's mostly the quad, which are the 4 muscles at the front of your thigh on the back leg. So if you think, oh, you know what, my thighs could do, it's also a bit of a groin stretch. So we did this a few weeks ago. Some of you were saying they wanted to get a bit of a stretch in the groin. So it's also a bit of a groin stretch. You can deepen this by lifting the back leg, and that gives you, I like to kind of jiggle my knee out a little bit here as well. So that gives you cramp in your hamstrings, first of all. Oh man, yeah. Whoa. This is another gift that menopause gives you, cramp. So yes, that's another option that you can do, is to just lift that leg up and get a bit more of a stretch here. And push back up onto your hands and knees. And this time slide the left knee forwards. Stretch the right leg back behind you. And just gentle rocking of the hips from side to side. And then again, if you want that little bit of an extra stretch, you can just lift the foot off the floor for that extra stretch in the quad. And release. Exhale. And back. Tuck your toes under. Lift the knees off the floor. Drop the heels and just have another little dangle here. So you might want to move the head, you might want to move the shoulders, you might want to move the spine. And then slowly climb all the way up. So before we lie down, we're going to finish with a balance, and we're actually going to do a partner balance. If you don't feel comfortable working with a partner, with the old COVID, that's understandable. So what you can do is you can use the wall instead. You can come and clamp onto the wall. For those of you that want to do this partner work, would anybody like to partner me, because we've got an odd number? Are you happy to come close to me, Orwin? So do you want to come? Are you happy to? You're going to be on the camera, is that okay? It's only people that are in the class, it's not going all over YouTube. So what we're going to do is you're going to stand side by side, and we're going to work into tree pose. Our hips need to touch.
Oh, sorry.
So we're going to, our inner legs are going to be the standing leg. So we're going to make those right. And then you turn the outside leg out. Now you can place this foot wherever you want it. You can keep it on the floor, particularly if the pelvis is a little bit uncomfortable. And what we're going to do is we're going to use our inner hands, and I'm going to bring it around your back, and I'm going to hold your waist, and you're going to do the same to me. And then our hips kind of come in towards each other. You might even need to move the standing leg away. So hips are together, and then you can bring that knee up. Uh-oh. And then you can take the other arm, go pull you over, out. And you can kind of feel that pushing, pulling, can't you? Okay.
I'm so good at this now.
Well, I don't know, I think pregnant women are quite good at balancing. She's got a really good centre of gravity. Okay. So you might want to come off your mat, because there's a bit more grippage on the carpet, not much. If you think, do you know what, no, then you can just maybe do a little bit on, holding against the wall, and maybe doing some. So you can do some crossing.
Yeah, I can't do what you just did.
Yeah, what's my leg? If I lift one leg. Yeah, so with the SPD, lifting one leg at all isn't very good. So what you can do is maybe just grip, toes on the floor, and just do some gripping and do that instead. So that's your options. For those that want to work with a partner, find someone that's roughly your height, and you like the look of them, and then I'll talk you through it again. Have we got any extra bodies? So Melissa and Pip, you're probably the same height, aren't you? Did you want a partner, Laura? Yeah, are you happy for the wall?
Yeah.
Okay, so Olwyn, that's great. And you're going to wall and probably grip Alex. Okay, so start off standing fairly close to each other, but you might have to come away, and then outer leg turns out, and then hold it to the rounded way. So find the position of the leg, take it you can't have to sit down to put trousers on. Yeah, it's a classic. She's not you might have understood that you need to cross over and do the other way. Yeah. So I forgot to mention that. So you might want to do the other side, Amy. So be balanced on both sides. Was it easier or harder?
Easier.
Yeah, I tried to do it in normal yoga. I can't balance at all, but that was
Okay, so we'll have a nice long relaxation now. So you can grab everything that you feel that you need for your relaxation. So you might want cushions, pillows, blocks. If you're less than 20 weeks into your pregnancy, then it will be okay to lie on your back. After 20 weeks, you will need to come onto your side. And it doesn't matter if it's the left or the right side, so either of them are fine. And then just making sure that everything feels comfortable. So you might want to rest your head on your pillow, or you might want to rest your head on your arm. You might need to put your pillow underneath your bump if you're getting any pulling around the abdominal area. If you're having any discomfort around your hips, you might want to put a brick in between your legs. So lots of different ways of working. And then when you've made all of your adjustments, any last minute movements until you feel completely comfortable. And just allow yourself to rest down into the ground. So feeling the sensation of the ground beneath you. So this sensation of the ground holding you up. And with that feeling of the ground holding you up, see if you can cultivate sense of surrender. Notice if there are any parts of your body that feel as if they are pushing away from the ground. This is normally an indication that there may be some tension in those parts of the body. And we will go through each of these parts in more detail. But just for now, being aware of any significant areas that you feel are not connecting down into the ground. Become aware of your breath. And just noticing how the breath is. So without changing the breath, but just watching its natural flow. And then giving yourself permission that for the next 15 minutes you will allow yourself the opportunity to relax fully and deeply. So we're going to move our awareness around every part of the body. And as I call out all the different locations, I'd like you to place your awareness into those spaces, but also consciously relaxing and releasing them. So start by bringing your awareness into your right foot, into your right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe, the sole of the right foot, the top of the right foot, the right heel, ankle, shin, calf muscle, knee, back of the knee, the front of your right thigh, inner thigh, outer thigh, and the back of your thigh, your right hip socket, right buttock, right side of your waist, the right side of your chest, right armpit, right shoulder, shoulder socket, upper arm, elbow, lower arm, wrist, palm of the hand, back of the hand, right thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger. Be aware of the whole of the right side of your body. And then move your awareness over into the left foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe, the sole of the left foot, the top of the left foot, the ankle, the shin, the calf muscles, left knee, back of the knee, the front of your left thigh, inner thigh, outer thigh, and the back of the thigh, left hip, hip socket, left buttock, the left side of your waist, the left side of your ribs, left armpit, left shoulder, shoulder socket, upper arm, elbow, lower arm, left wrist, palm of your hand, back of your hand, left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger. Be aware of the whole of the left side of your body. Move your awareness now into your tailbone, your sacrum, the back of your pelvis, the lower back, middle of your back, upper back, right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade, the back of the neck, the back of your head, the crown of your head, the forehead, the temples, both eyebrows, both eyes, both cheeks, both ears, nose, upper lip, tongue, lower lip, jaw, throat, right collarbone, left collarbone, breastbone, upper abdomen, lower abdomen. Be aware of the whole of your body and let it rest. Now bring your awareness into the space behind your closed eyes. And into this space I'd like you to begin to visualize the ocean. Create an image of the ocean stretching out in front of you. Notice the colour of the water. See the vast empty sky above. And just notice the waves gently rolling into the sandy beach. You can imagine that you are just watching this scene. You may even want to place yourself at the water's edge, Imagining cooling, gentle waves lapping over your feet. Notice the sounds you can hear at the edge of the water, feeling the power and the energy of the ocean, feeling the spray on your face, the sounds of the waves. And just being aware of this fluid, flowing nature of water. Changing that image, imagine now that you are sitting near a gentle babbling stream. Notice how gently the water bubbles its way over the rocks and pebbles in the bed of the stream. Notice how clear the water is. Notice the surroundings. You might imagine that you are in a wood or a forest. And just watching the endless stream of water moving effortlessly. And whenever there is an obstacle, a rock, a bend in the stream, the water just gracefully and effortlessly moves around it. Just being aware of this effortless flow. That is the nature of water. And then just letting that image fade as well. And then gently drawing your attention back into your physical body. Be aware of your body, lying on the ground or sitting. Notice all the sensations that you can feel at the moment. Notice the sounds that you can hear as you gently, gradually awaken yourself from this relaxation. The sounds you can hear inside the room. Maybe the sounds you can hear beyond the room. And then gently bringing some movement into your body, moving your fingers and your toes. Taking a slow breath in and out. And in your own time, as you feel ready, gently bring yourself up to sitting. There's no rush. Move slowly, move gently. Just noticing how you feel as you come back into your seated position, and in particular just see if you can take on some of those qualities of water, that effortless fluidity flowing around all of the obstacles. And then just taking a stretch, lifting the arms up and over the head, maybe just stretching from side to side. And then drawing the hands down, back into the heart center. And I'll close the session by chanting the 3 sounds of Om, which is Ah, U, resonating in various locations in the body, the belly, the heart, the head. And also representing various levels of our being, physical, energetic, and mental. If you'd like to join in, please take a breath. Thank you so much for your time and your attention this evening, beautiful Yogini Mamas. Namaste. Hope you enjoyed your session. Have a wonderful week.